Hey there, fellow international studiers. Mark here with Wolters World. We're in Lisbon, Portugal. And actually, this is the city where I got my PhD. Yes, I am Dr. Mark Wolters. And today we're going to talk about are the 5 things you're going to love and hate about getting your degree abroad. Because there's some really cool things about it, but there are some ramifications for getting your degree abroad as well. So I want to kind of go through some of those. Now, the first thing you're going to hate about getting your degree abroad is finding the programs, getting accepted, and getting your visa to come here. It's not easy because if you're in your home country, you know the basic systems. Oh, I take my ACT or my SAT to get in there, or take my GMAT to get in here. Well, the rules may be different in the different places you go. For example, I did my master's in Germany, and one of the requirements was you had to have a TOEFL score, test of English as a foreign language. Now, I'm a native speaker, so I don't take that exam. What do? I had to get a special exception to say I did not have to take the English exam, okay? So that's kind of a pain. Also, getting the visa for here, to do it, it's the documentation you need, all this kind of stuff, it is a real headache. And if you're coming from someplace, like if you're coming to the US from a lot of places, they have a lot of restrictions, so it can be quite frustrating. So that's the first thing you're not gonna like, is searching for the programs, finding the programs, and then getting your visa to actually go there. They're all a big pain. Now, the second thing you're not going to like about getting your degree abroad is the move. You got to pack up your stuff. Well, what are you going to take? What aren't you going to take? But also, the toughest part about the move is finding a place to live. Because some places, yeah, I can look online, but you want to see what it's like when you get there. And some places require you to have a place to live before they give you the visa. So sometimes you're finding a place to live blind. Okay, I know for me, I ended up living in dorms sometimes, or I lived in somebody's extra bedroom and all these things, so it kind of worked out for me. But it can be a real problem if you're trying to find a place to live, and getting all that move over to the other country can be a bit daunting. So take a deep breath, and remember, you can leave some stuff at home and have your parents or your friends ship it to you. Just leave them some money when you do have a real address, okay? The third thing you might not like about getting your degree abroad is the financial commitment. Look, in Europe, education is a lot cheaper than in the US, but the thing is, you still have to pay for it, and you might not be able to work in that country you go to. So will you have the financial means to pay your tuition? When I was doing my PhD here, it was under 3,000 euros a year for tuition. I have students that study underneath me in the US, and they pay $36,000 a year just in tuition, not counting food, not counting room and board and all those things. So the financial side of doing this, and buying the books, some countries you get the books for free. In the US, you can spend thousands of dollars on the books. So the financial side of getting your degree abroad can be quite daunting. The fourth thing you might not like about getting a degree abroad is the difference in the coursework. Now in the US, we have lots and lots of group work. We're working together in groups, and everybody gets the same grade on those things. Other places here in Portugal and Lithuania, where I taught there, when I tried to do group work, I had a lot of resistance to it, and students said, we don't like the group work. This isn't how we do it. And you're going to have to get used to having different kinds of projects, different kinds of exams. I did my master's in Germany. There's no multiple choice. It's all essay exams. Same thing here in Portugal. I had all essay exams. And therefore, you got to know how to answer those questions. One of the biggest problems that my exchange students that come over to the US is they don't know how to answer the multiple choice questions because they all sound so good, because they're not used to doing that. So other times, look at the grading system, trying to figure those things out. Germany, I would have classes where the exam was 100% of the grade. People wouldn't show up for class all semester, but then in the exam there'd be like 300 people. Why? Because there's only one way they take points. And that's literally a school by school difference, professor by professor difference around the world, so just be ready for that. And the fifth thing you might not like about getting your degree abroad, and one of the biggest issues you really need to look at, is will it be accepted when you go back home? Because if you get a degree in that country, it's usually easier to get a job in that country. But if you're taking your PhD from Portugal back to the US, how is it going to be seen? If you're going to take your master's from Spain, how's it going to be seen from Hong Kong? Because some places are really cool about it. When I did my interviews for my job, I interviewed at the University of Illinois. They were fantastic. They wanted to know, oh, that was cool. What about that program? It gave us something to talk about. Other places, they said, I'm sorry, we don't recognize that. I'm like, well, it's certified, it's AACSB, it's all this. And they had said, we don't understand Portuguese, we don't understand Portugal. And they said, no, we're not going to listen to you. So thank you, U of I, for listening to me. But that is a big issue if your degree is going to be accepted. So what you need to do is make sure are they accredited by some of these major institutions, these worldwide institutions? If it's a business program, is it AACSB certified? My PhD, my master's, they were, so I was okay. Other people might have some problems, okay? So those are the 5 big things you might not like about getting your degree abroad, but what are you gonna love about it? Well, the first thing you're gonna love is, hey, guess what? I got to see this every day. When my friends were studying their PhD in the middle of nowhere in Nebraska or Omaha or that same place, you know, or wherever, I would got to go to the beach and learn how to surf. Yes, fat Marky, well, I was skinnier then. Learned how to surf. It was cool, and you're doing your degree in a different place, and you get to have all the cool things with it, with the travel and seeing all these things. And it is really cool to get this all new culture and be in such an awesome place like Lisbon. The second thing you're gonna like about it is the fact is, if you come as an exchange student someplace, you're there for 5 months, you don't really get to see the real culture. You're more like on a party trip. When you get your degree abroad, you're signifying to the locals that, yes, I do want to be here, and I'm making the commitment to get my degree here, to be here and do all these things, which a lot of the locals appreciate, showing, wow, you're really doing that. And with that more in-depth experience, you know the culture better, you get to learn the language, you get to know really good people, and that's what's really the best part of this. I have so many great people I've met here in Lisbon that I'm so happy to be back to see them again. Pedro and Carla, can't wait to see you. Vera and Dave, Martine, see you soon, buddies. The third thing you might like about it is if you're looking to get a different perspective on life, like I said, you know, how they do their projects and stuff may be different, but also it gives you a different perspective. You can see, oh, how do they do those things there? And it gives you a more well-rounded perspective on the world and a new perspective on how you can learn. And, you know, it was very interesting for me to see how the Germans learned. Oh, wow, we had to learn all this stuff because the exams weren't, professor teaches it and then we take an exam on that. Is the professor taught us the beginning, and then we had the exam made us take it to the next level. A very different way of learning, and to help me grow as a person to try to think of that next level. Other things, when people come to the US for the degrees where it's more practical based, they get that practical experience and it gets them excited about that, and they start to see things in a new way. And that's why it's a really cool thing, is the different perspective you get when you go there. The fourth thing you're gonna like about it is the career opportunities that it does bring to you. One of the things you look at, if I got my degree here in Portugal, it's a lot easier for me to get a job in Portugal because I've been here, I know the language, the degree is recognized in that country because you're in that country. Same thing, people go to the US to study. No, it's not easy to get that visa to stay, but you have a better chance because they recognize, oh, the University of Illinois program. I know the University of Illinois, I know this program, it's okay. Whereas if I say, oh, you got a degree from Germany, what do they say? What's Volkswirtschaft? I don't even know what that is. Oh, economics. Oh, right. So you have this thing. So if you're for your career opportunities in the country you're in, that can be a really great thing if you want to stay there. And the fifth thing you might like about it is kind of the wow factor of it. Now, part of the wow factor is living in a place like this, where this is what I see every single day, eating my pastéis de Belém, the custard pastries here, maybe a few too many, having some super box, maybe a few too many, and, you know, enjoying it. And that wow factor of, yes, I did my degree abroad, and when you go to the interviews, it gives you something to talk about. Because when you go into these interviews for jobs, everyone's got the degrees from the same, you know, the same degree, the same, you know, went to the same schools, had the same classes. This gives you something to talk about. And then they remember, oh, that's the guy that did his PhD in Portugal. And it gives you kind of that wow factor, that's something different when you do go abroad or when you do go back home and things like that. So it is kind of a cool thing. Those are the 5 things that I loved and hated about getting my degree abroad. What are some of yours? If you've gotten your degree abroad, what's been the good and the bad? Please put in the comment section below. And if you have hints for people who want to get their degree abroad, please put in the comment section below so we can have more people get the degrees anywhere in the world. Anyway, I'll say adios from here in Lisbon, Portugal, home of my university and my PhD program. I hope you have a great time studying wherever you do end up. Bye from Lisbon.